Hey everyone, Ocklawahaboy Rocks. It is actually Thunderegg Thursday as I record this. It is late spring in north central Florida. It's getting to the point where it's a little too hot out here. Until this time of day you can see the last bit of light in the sky behind me. So, late spring, flowers are done. The thunderstorms have started here, and it's the time when middle-aged guys' hearts turn towards the Pacific Northwest. The snow's melting out there, the ground's going to be relatively soft. The Madras and Prineville Rochound shows are coming up with all their field trips. But it's probably too late if you haven't already planned a trip out there to get something going. So I want to talk to you about looking at your fall, winter, spring trips. And a lot of the YouTube channels, half a dozen of them I can think off the top of my head, are from the Oregon, Washington area. That's where a lot of the rocks are. But it's not where everything is, and it's not where all the Thundereggs are. You saw me in Dugway just a few weeks ago at a video. That was in October. It was great out there in October, a little chilly, but the days were just great. That's a place you don't want to be in the middle of the winter or the middle of the summer. Fall and spring are the times to be at Dugway. But I'm going to talk to you primarily today about a spot that you don't want to be in the middle of the summer at all. It can be a little cold in the winter, but 115 probably is not unusual in the summer. And this will be a little bit of a book review. So I got Rockhounding the Wiley's Well District by Delmer Ross, and we're going to take a look at that. So this is the time to start planning for a winter trip when all those Pacific Northwest areas, Colorado, everything's under feet of snow. Head down to Southern California and do some rock hounding. So I'm going to bring you down to take a look at the book, and then we're going to hop on the computer and tell you how you might use it for your planning. Okay, so we get into this book, and we'll start off with some information about where to stay. There's a couple of good campgrounds out there in the area, and when I say good campgrounds, they're fairly primitive, no hookups or anything. Some history of the area, and then it gets into where to go, and it's got GPS all the way through this, pictures of what's around, all the different areas. So the way this book works is it takes you through and tells you, here's where this spot is, here's where this intersection is, and then the next place builds off the previous one. So I'm going to take you into the computer and start looking at some of this. Okay, here we have my Gaia GPS screen here. I went into the book and I added Middle Camp. Now the book has GPS for all down through here. It even has, it talks about there's 2 state prisons here, gives you these directions, GPS for the 2 campgrounds, and then all of these turns out here to get to Middle Camp. Then from Middle Camp, it splits off and tells you how to get to the next beds, and then they'll pick a junction that it gives you the GPS to and tell you how to get from there. But if you will plug these things into Gaia, you won't need all of those junctions cataloged in your GPS. And I have gone in here and just put some of the beds in here, and these are just the Thunderegg beds. I did not put any of the other agate and different things that they have in the book. So I'm only gonna zoom in about this far, but you can see lots of different roads. Some of these roads that are even on Gaia are barely faint impression 2 tracks on what they call the desert pavement. When you get out here, there's rocks so compacted in, it's almost like driving on pavement. But one of the main benefits of this being in Gaia is that you have the public private land boundaries. This area is, as you see, a real checkerboard of public and private land, and some of the beds that are in the book are on private property. So you'll see some no trespassing signs out there and whatnot. You got a square of state land here. Let me get off of middle camp so these will show up a little better. You've got state of California land. The yellow is BLM. The gray is private property. So everything, I think everything I have marked here is on public land, but again, there are some on private land. So definitely being careful with a 2-wheel drive, or there are some of these are definitely 4-wheel drive. I'm not going to actually show you the locations. Some of these are pins out of the book. Some of them are actual pins of beds that somebody showed me that they're the actual hole, and you don't need that be that specific. But I do also want to show you another thing about Gaia. It's got the geode beds marked here, but it also has the approximate location: Rhodes End Agate, Hauser Geode Beds, Potato Patch Beds. So a lot of these that are in the book, there's another one here, View Agate on the state land. A lot of these that are in the book are also on Gaia, preloaded, so it'll get you in the general area, and when you get out there you'll see the holes where people have been digging. And if you know a little bit about the geology, and you can kind of see the perlite and know what layers you're supposed to be digging in, pretty much everything out there is kind of on the side of a hill. Almost nothing is digging down in the valley areas. So dozens more pins probably that I could put out of that book on here, but having the book and having Gaia, really helpful when you're out there in the desert, and all these little 2 tracks are on here on Gaia for you to follow. Well, this isn't a full trip planning video. It seems like just about every YouTube rockhound's got a video on how they plan their trip, but it was a little look at a book that would be really helpful for a particular area. And just a reminder, if you do want to go somewhere like the Southern California desert or the Utah West Desert, don't be planning to just head out in the summertime, wrong time of year. Plan ahead now to go out wintertime. I don't think I mentioned, if you go out here, I think, what is it, January, February, they've got the quartzite just across the Arizona border from Blythe, and Blythe is the closest town to Wiley's Well. So just across the Arizona border, they've got, some of the biggest rock shows in the world out there, so you can go do that. But plan ahead, get your flight book, get your hotel, get your campground, whatever it is you need to do, and all of the GPS information you're going to need to do that is in here. So I will see you next Thunderegg Thursday.